Okay.
Yeah, I got it for Father's Day.
Your coffee straw.
Four glasses and a coffee straw. Anyway,
Okay.
so who we sponsored by?
We are sponsored by, you know what? I'm just going to be honest right now. We don't have any sponsors yet. I'm really hoping for some big names in the coming times.
Yeah.
You know, IBM, I think they're on board. You know?
IBM is on board.
Yeah. CompUSA.
How about Packard Bell? We could get them back in the
Packard
picture.
Bell, sure. Yeah.
With my 1 gigabyte hard drive that they upgraded me to.
Oh, I remember that. That was exciting days.
That was a big day for me.
Those were exciting days.
Well, Mr. Klein, your Packard Bell computer died on you, so we're going to send you a new one. We're going to upgrade you to a 1 gig hard drive. That was amazing.
Remember back in the day when all it took was a 1 gig hard drive to just make us excited about a computer?
Can you imagine that? Like, what the heck did we put on there? Not very much.
Because I'm so old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well.
So here we are. What are we calling this kind of hybrid podcast / recording that I probably will have to edit things out of? Are we going with...
We got to do a lot of editing.
There's going to be a lot of editing. I think so. Kind of ruins the spirit of a podcast, which is supposed to just kind of flow and not be edited, but, you know, to heck with that.
I think every one of them, they record and edit.
You know what? Don't try and fit me into a box here. You know, I'm not going to be part of some defined thing that everybody has to say I have to conform to. You know, forget that.
Well,
I'm going to be different exactly like everybody else.
If you want someone to listen, you better edit it.
I'm going to have to edit a lot of stuff out.
I have a surprise. We have a surprise sponsor. It's not related to this at all, but it's Big Globe.
Big Globe, we are?
We're sponsored by Big Globe.
This episode of TnT's Excuse to Hang Out podcast is Big Globe.
Sponsored by Big Globe. You know how every American has a globe in their house these days?
I don't.
Yeah, you don't.
I'm sponsored by Big Globe, and I don't even have a globe. Although I have wanted one for a lot of years. I just never have gotten around to getting one.
Both sponsors send you their product to try out.
They should. That way I can promote it in the back of my videos. Just as like subtle subliminal indoctrination.
Right. Just have it spinning every now and then so you can hear it.
Sure. Motorized, maybe even.
Motorized.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the only reason anybody would ever have a belief in flat Earth.
True.
So why else? You know, I mean, if you're what's the reason for the conspiracy? It's got to be Big Globe pushing it in their product.
For sure. You know, it's funny. I genuinely have wanted to get one of those old school looking like brass globes with like the fancy stand and everything, just because I think they look awesome and they look cool on a shelf.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Every good library den needs a globe, a spinning globe.
Yeah, and I think that, the desk in my bedroom would be a good place for a little globe.
Does add class, for sure.
It does. You know, it's just, you have a little globe on your desk and it just says, you know what, look, I am a sheep, if nothing, that believes the indoctrination of the globe model, and you know what, I'm open to a bribe now and again, and I've taken my globe as a bribe, and I'm proud of it, and I display it.
You're not supposed to look to the correlation of why we are sponsored by Big Globe today. That just it's coincidence.
This is a coincidence. Okay, sorry. Yes. Okay, so forget that. So actually, what we're sponsored by today is I'm just you know what? I got nothing. I'm just going to have to go back again to we're not sponsored. We haven't been able to get any sponsors because who the heck would sponsor us?
That would be pretty amazing, though. You know, listen to podcasts and they go to break.
Yeah.
And they have all these sponsors and all those things they get to,
Coming up after the break, we're going to continue to talk nonsense. But right now, let us tell you about all the people that are paying us to say that nonsense. Can you imagine?
Never going to happen here.
This never going to happen. Any potential sponsor, even if we got super big, any potential sponsor would look at a transcript of one of our chats and they'd be like, we're actually thinking we're going to go in another direction. Like maybe one full of less just random rambling and tangents and non sequiturs and dick jokes.
Could be a starter company, you know?
Well,
This we're a starter podcast. They're a starter company.
yeah, it's true.
We could grow together.
Basically, what you're saying is we might be able to find somebody desperate enough.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Desperate is the key word.
Desperate is very key.
So I do have the wonderful outline
Do you?
up on my screen. Yeah.
All right, see, because we're professional here at the Excuse to Hang Out podcast.
You laid it out very nicely. I
did lay it out nice.
Yeah.
Really, it was just something to kick us back on track after we inevitably go off onto tangents.
Every 5 minutes.
5 minutes? You're being really generous today.
I remember, so Flat Earth, I remember the first time I heard that.
Uh-huh.
It was on Al Gore was talking to David Letterman.
Really?
And he was talking about, what else would he be talking about? You want to guess? Global warming. And
sure.
He said, if you're a global warming denier, that means you're just like a flat earther. You have to believe in the flat earth if you deny global warming. And I thought that was a joke. I didn't really think that anybody actually believed that the earth was still flat. Like, we still had that belief.
Mm-hmm.
And that was years ago.
Yeah.
And then years later, you told me about this forum that you were on, was it a fake debate forum, or that's what you thought it was?
I wasn't really sure. I had my suspicions that it was really just kind of a place, a fake debate where, you know, some people that were arguing for the round earth may have thought that the flat earthers on the forum were serious because some of them got pretty heated.
Oh,
but I
thought it was like a college debate team or something messing with each other.
I kind of figured most of the people
honing their skills.
Yeah, I kind of thought most of the people on there, especially the flat earthers, they had to be people that are just picking a ridiculous point and trying to come up with a way to debate it and make it sound believable just for laughs.
Right.
And stick to it rigorously, just sticking to character, sticking to the topic, see how far they could get with it. It was funny to me. And frankly, it was kind of interesting to read the different points and laugh about, like, oh, wow, that is the excuse that they're coming up with for X, Y, or Z. That's ridiculous and hilarious. But well done for coming up with such a grand level of nonsense.
Right, I remember you explaining
with your story.
And we laughed so hard at it. We're like, yeah, right, that's not out there still.
So I thought it was a joke, and it kind of faded away, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I followed the forum for, I don't know, a couple weeks, a month. Just every once in a while, I'd get on there and kind of read through some stuff, laugh with you about it. And then I kind of forgot all about it.
Did you ever add your input? Did you ever comment?
I can't remember. I think I might have asked questions a couple of times just because I was curious, like, well, what about this? You know, because, like,
yeah.
Again, there was that little nagging thing of, like, some of these people might be serious, but more often it was just like, okay, these guys have obviously, to support their debate or whatever, they have come up with just a crazy complete set of arguments. And I genuinely was curious sometimes, okay, what do they say about this? And just because it was fascinating to me.
Yeah, see what they could come up with.
Yeah, but
an argument against something that was, resolved years ago.
But I mean, it seemed like a small thing, and to be quite honest, I got bored of it pretty quick because it's just ridiculous. So I just kind of stopped paying attention to it, and it mostly faded from my mind for, I would say, probably a good couple of years. Maybe not quite, but at least a year. I just really didn't think about it because why would I? What's the point? But honestly, I think probably my first experience with it was like you. I mean, growing up, every once in a while, people would almost use it as like a joke, Oh, you believe that? You probably believe the world's flat. I mean, it was a joke because it was so obvious that nobody would think that anymore.
Yeah, if you believe that, I got some oceanfront property in Arizona.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And honestly, I would be more likely to believe, well, maybe an inlet does go that far. I've never really looked that hard, Maybe
I've never checked Arizona. You've been there.
Maybe there's a spot that, I don't know. It's been a while since I looked at a map.
But hey, you could take advantage of that too and sell them some property.
Hey, I I got property in New Mexico, I'll sell you. I'm pretty sure it's oceanfront.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, it was an ocean at one point. Look, a dried up, extinct ocean is still technically an ocean.
Yeah, but if they go visit it and they want to see it before they buy it,
Okay, it's not oceanfront, it's ocean bed property. Is that better?
Yeah,
it's an ocean floor property. I have some property on the floor of the ocean. Would you be interested?
that country song might not have been as popular as it was if they said ocean bed property in Arizona. It just doesn't have the same ring to it.
It has a ring to it, though. You got to admit that.
It does. It does. That's funny.
So yeah, that was it. And then I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna name names or talk specifics here, but I may have gotten a call from someone I actually know.
No, that's not possible.
Who asked me, "Hey, you know, I've seen some videos on YouTube. By the way, first red flag. Don't get me wrong. YouTube is a great repository of amazing information. I mean, think about it. Anytime you want to do something now that you've never done before, you're like, hey, I want to, redo something on my air conditioner.
Anything.
I bet somebody else has done that, made a video of it, and shows me how it comes apart so that I could probably fumble my way through it. But you know what? If I could watch somebody do it first, that would be a big leg up on the
job. Have you ever had a problem that you didn't find an answer to on YouTube? Actually, I've never Googled anything and not found an answer to it. It's at least a video or
it's extremely rare, and it was usually something very specific. And actually, it's one of the reasons I started doing YouTube videos.
So because there wasn't one, so you made one.
Yeah, it was like there was some specific task or some specific product that I was interested in, and I was like, hey, nobody has talked about this before. I'm going to talk about it, and that was it. And then
that's how you got started.
Of course, yeah, pretty much. Well, actually, technically, the first couple videos I ever posted were just like back in the day when emailing even a 4 megabyte video was like, are you crazy? That's insane. Yeah. My email program can't handle a 4 megabyte video.
No, it's going to dial out first, right?
So it was, my first couple videos, like 12 years ago were more like, hey, I want to show somebody something. Hey, I can create a YouTube channel for free and throw it up there and they can watch it. Mm-hmm. So that was actually how it started. But then, literally I threw a couple of videos on there and that was it for like 5-6 years. And then I started doing it more, 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
But, so this person, and I believe we both know who we're talking about here, just genuinely curious. Like, they'd watched a video, some of it made sense to them. They said, you know what, it did make me think. And I thought, you know what, you might be somebody that I could ask, what do you think of that? That's what they said to me. And I was like, oh gosh, no. All the things that I think about it, all the ways I could go into what I think about it.
Oh gosh, no. You don't want me to tell you what I think about it. But I will.
So, yeah, I mean, I started going over a few of the things just right off the bat.
Oh, so that's why you started looking into it again.
Yeah,
because of that. You weren't paying attention.
That was probably 3 years ago now.
Oh, was it? Wow.
That happened, 2 or 3.
Wow. I remember us talking about it and, a little sad about it, but,
yeah. And,
still thinking it was a joke.
Yeah. And it's, so, since then I've looked into it a lot and most of what you find online, it seems like it pretty much is a joke.
Mm.
I mean, even the people that are serious about it, it's like...
Don't you always wonder, though, if they're if they're just trying to get hits and they don't really believe it?
I have to believe that's the way some of them are, just because of their attitudes and just the way they talk about it. I'm like, you know what? They don't believe this, but it gets them views, it gets them donations, it gets them attention.
It's like the cat video. Remember that girl that was, obsessed with cats? Remember? Where she was crying over the cat, and then we found out she was just an actress. You remember that? It was a huge video.
I
millions of views. And she was like, I love cats. And she was just sobbing. And everybody just couldn't believe it. And here she was just faking it. That's what I thought they were doing. When back then, I was like, I'll Google this. I'm watching YouTube. And I was just laughing. I'm like, yeah, right. This is a joke.
Well, I honestly think that's probably where some of it got started. Some people were either dishonest or just have a mental condition, and I don't mean that in a bad way at all.
No.
Everybody has mental conditions about things, you know?
Sure.
But when I say a mental condition, I just mean some way in which their mind works or way in which they process, specific ideas that makes them believe, yes, this is true.
They're just prone to believing conspiracy theories in general, whether it's they enjoy the drama, the fear.
Yeah, but I still think that the originators of it were something else. I don't know what. But basically, so these originators started, and I think one of the most popular ones, if you've ever heard of him, is Eric Dubé. He's made a video like 200 reasons why the Earth can't be a globe.
I just watched a video where they referenced it was a video of a former flat earther who converted.
Okay.
And he was saying that everyone always throws that video at him. Says, watch this, or you gotta watch this.
Yeah.
200 reasons. That's the most popular.
Well, that was one of the first ones, I think. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't the first, but I mean, that was like a real early one that got a lot of people talking. And honestly, that's the one this person called me about.
200, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Video.
Did you watch it?
I watched a lot of it.
Okay, that's a lot of... what were some of them, and were any of them believable? Because 200, that's... Can you imagine that? That's insane.
So many of them were just essentially slightly different versions of the same thing.
Okay.
And virtually all of them were just misunderstandings, whether intentional or unintentional. I have to think intentional, at least with some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Misunderstandings and mischaracterizations of the way just very basic physics work. But they were mischaracterizations in such a way that they were, and this is why I think it was dishonest, is that they seriously were designed in such a way so that it's like, look at only this very specific, narrow idea that I'm presenting as if it represents all of this topic, and see how ridiculous it sounds if I frame it this way, and see how much common sense it sounds like to believe that this means the Earth isn't round.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's just, so I think a lot of people do get taken in by that because, you know what, they haven't spent all that much time thinking about this kind of stuff because it doesn't really matter to them in their day-to-day life.
Right.
But
as it should.
Right. But if there's somebody that is already predisposed to believe in conspiracies, or if they're just somebody that, they haven't looked into it all that much, and when they hear that, they go, that does kind of sound like common sense.
Yeah.
Then it kind of sticks in their head, and then they start researching it more. And, when you start researching flat Earth, what do you find? You find other people that say, yeah, the Earth is flat, here's why, and they just regurgitate the same ideas, or maybe like a slightly reworded version of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing you know, whether the first guy was honest or not, eventually you get honest people that are just being sucked into it.
Oh, that's sad. I don't know. Couldn't it be as simple as you strap a GoPro to your car, then your boat, and you just get to the end and record the whole thing and say, yep, it's flat? Couldn't it be that easy?
It should be.
Proof. I mean, if you're so convinced, just hey, take a couple weeks off work and start driving. Record the whole thing.
And there's just so many rabbit holes that you go down. The fact that, you don't actually own a boat or a plane that could get you all the way to the edge. And anybody that does, they're using navigation systems built by people that are part of the conspiracy, or not even necessarily part of the conspiracy, but people that have just been misled and are misunderstanding the shape of the Earth. They're expecting it to be round. They're expecting to have to take a certain kind of a route across the ocean, ocean. So that's the route they take, and of course it takes them in what they think is a round Earth path. They're coming at it from that assumption.
Wait a second, you gotta back up. They used the navigation that they designed based on the fact that the Earth was round.
And they got where they thought they were going.
And that's why it works.
Yeah.
That's why it works.
And that's the problem, I think, is that all of these people, they're making so many assumptions because they've never looked into it and they don't know how things work. And that's fine. Not everybody does know how things... Whatever, yeah, of course. You know how much stuff there is to know in this world? You couldn't know it all in a million years if all you did was study.
Uh-huh.
But the problem is they think that the people that built those navigation systems, the people that are trained on them, the people that run them, are also going off of assumptions. And those people know darn well you make assumptions and you get lost and die.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I don't know, but it's kind of sad.
Yeah, and so why did it become so popular? Why has it become so popular recently? It doesn't. I mean, why do people they just like to debate, or they like to make YouTube videos? They like to make money off of the views.
Well, that's part of it. I think also just the culture right now is one of. I mean, everybody wants to feel like they're part of something, and yet, almost every group that you could point out is something that another group says that you shouldn't want to be part of, and.
Well, not everybody can be part of a popular podcast, like us.
Well, I mean, we are a phenomenon. I'll give you that. I mean, it's
everybody's gonna want to be a part of this.
We're huge. We got big guests coming.
Can you interview me, please? I want to be on your podcast. I see there's 5 people that watched it and listened to it. Well, that'll never happen.
Okay. 5 people that watched it. Well, I mean, okay, yeah. One of them was me to make sure it worked.
And one was me.
One of them was you.
Yeah, I found it.
You feel like you were special because you got to hear yourself on the internet.
And my wife.
The other 3 were like your sister watching it 3 times because the internet kept messing up or something. I don't know.
For whatever reason. So anyway, and we're a part of this, but just us so far. So far. But I mean, come on. Think of who we are, though. I know.
That's impressive. We're TnT.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm
not saying. I'm just saying.
Wait, which one's first, by the way?
You know what? Let's not get into that right now.
Okay.
Let's not deal with specifics of who's better than who. It's just not worth it.
It's fine, since we both know who it is.
We both know who it is, and we'll just leave it at that. How's that sound? We can both delude ourselves, and we'll both be happier for it.
We'll get.
We'll be like flat earthers. We'll be happy in our delusions.
That is so insulting.
That is insulting.
Flat earther listens to this, they're gonna be upset.
I'm not sure who. Maybe everybody. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. I never actually watched a video of a flat. I watched the people that talk about them, that bring up their points. The SpaceX ones recently are amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Those are so funny. Just the ones that
just
say
absolute denial.
Oh, it's so... Oh, I mean, I do it for comic relief, and it's still a little bit sad, but I mean, it's so funny. You have to see the humor in it, or
you have to.
I think you would cry if you couldn't laugh about it.
Yeah.
You're much better at you would be much better at debating somebody that said, I would just be like, look at the pictures from NASA, and they're like, but those are the people.
Those are CGI, Tim.
Those are CGI.
Oh, by the way, I think I just outed your name. I just doxed you.
Did you?
I called you Tim. So now everybody knows that one of the T's stands for Tim.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Now you're gonna have hordes of fans on your doorstep.
Don't worry, Tony. Your name's safe. We won't release yours.
Okay, thanks. Good. I appreciate that. As long as we can keep my name under wraps, that would be appreciated.
There's only so many names to begin with T. So.
Now that you know our names, though, now you know which T is first, right? Oh, wait.
It's the one that you said first.
Oh, yeah. See, I see what you did there.
I say we suit up in our paintball gear, and whoever walks away.
I say we be honest with ourselves and admit that we're old and we don't have paintball gear.
Wouldn't you love to? I'm saying.
Wouldn't I love to be shot with paintballs at high velocity? Let me think about it. Let's see. I have been shot with paintballs at high velocity, and I didn't love it. So
that's true. You would miss, and I would hit you. So you're right. You are the one that would get hit. So
that's probably true.
That's not true. I did some shooting last night with another T in the family.
Is that right?
We did some clay pigeon shooting.
Oh, fun.
And I found out Owen is a better shot than us. So,
well, That doesn't surprise me that much. He's, he probably has time to do that sometimes.
I guess, but yeah, he's a very good shot.
Was he showing you guys up?
A little bit. Tommy was, his horses and cows were out there, and we were shooting over them. So maybe that's the distraction. Tommy's worried about killing his cows and horses.
You know what?
Owen didn't care.
If you have to put a few rounds of birdshot into a cow to make your score, then that's what you got to do.
Tommy goes, well, they're not going in for a couple months, so if we could not kill them, that'd be great.
That would be ideal.
Yeah. But I haven't done that in a while. And I need to do that more. Not kill cows with a shotgun, I mean.
Right. You've done that recently.
When I said I haven't done that in a while, that's been a long time.
Yeah. Not killing cows with a shotgun. I've done that. Oh, gosh, all the time.
Oh, yeah, that's our Friday night. That's a typical Friday. But, so that was fun. We have to do that sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
If you still know how to shoot. Do you have any guns? You have some guns.
Tim, this is getting a little bit too personal. It's getting a little too personal for this show, okay? I don't have any firearms.
That's right.
I would never
own a firearm.
Ever. I don't even like them to be in my house. or in the safe next to my bed. I don't even want that.
You sound so sincere.
Do I?
Not at all.
That's good.
We won't talk numbers. We'll just move on.
All right, let's move on. So, back to yet another conspiracy.
Yes.
Yes, we were on the conspiracy of me actually owning guns, which clearly is false.
Clearly.
And now...
There's not a YouTube video about it, so we're safe.
Right. So now we are back to Flat Earth, I think, or something. I don't know.
Relative popularity. How did it become popular? I still don't know that answer. And you still haven't told me how.
I gotta think it's just because people want to feel like they're a member of some group, and
yes.
I mean, I don't know if that's all it is, but I think part of it is, hey, I'm a member of some group that knows something cool about the Earth that everybody else is missing. Do you think that could be part of it?
Yeah. Also, it's fun to talk about and act like something no one else thought of or believes. Of course, it's embarrassing too if you tell the wrong person. But
and that's one thing that's kind of sad about it. I mean, I know, that this was going to be kind of where if we look at our trusty, beautiful outline that I so handily whipped up in about 5 seconds.
I'm looking at it. I'm following it.
The relationship thing is going to be later, but you kind of brought it up that, it's embarrassing depending on who you tell. There's stories online of people that have lost family, friends, everything because they're just like so...
Wait, which way? You mean they were embarrassed so bad that the person wouldn't talk to them when they said they believe the Earth is flat, or the other way around?
I don't know, and I would never say specific people or anything because, I don't want to get into this drama that from the outside, I don't really know the whole story.
Yeah.
So I don't want to spread rumors about people, but it was just, some specific person that was being talked about in a video, and they were saying, yeah, he's lost like almost his whole family and most of his friends because he's so like militant about this.
He's okay. He's pushing it so much on them.
He's like so militant about flat Earth that he's just like alienated everybody in his life. Like you need help. I mean, they've been telling him he needs help, and then that just makes it worse. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. If one of us called the other person, it's like, I want to talk to you today more about why I think the Earth is flat, and you're just like, shut up. Eventually you just stop answering the phone, wouldn't you?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. And I don't know. That's a tough situation too.
I would stop answering the phone if you kept calling to tell me that. Wait, I don't answer your calls now.
That's a good point too. Yeah. I have to send you suspicious packages to get any kind of a response from you. What
suspicious packages
this time?
Well, what is that?
Find out soon, but at least I got you on the phone, didn't I?
That's why I call you. Why is it ticking? I knew you'd call. It's just the clock this time, but you better call next time because it could be anything. loved our fake fighting. We always did it. Advance Auto and
Yeah, when we got Ed to think that we hated each other, and he would like go to leave, and he would give us this serious talk about how we should learn to let things go. And
is that what his name? Is that his name, Ed?
wasn't that Ed? Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't know he was old. He was probably in his 40s.
Well,
You know,
he seemed old back then.
Like, wow.
Oh gosh, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know when you're younger, you think everybody's. I mean, back then I would have probably looked at my current self and been like, "What a geezer." But I think he was at least.
He was ready to retire.
Yeah, he had to be at least like early 50s, right?
Yeah, I hope so, because I just remember an old guy.
Yeah, if not, then I don't know. There's some people I work with that are just remembering old guys about me too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What's that old guy I worked with last week? It's like, oh, well, yeah.
I never get that description of people. I see you. I always get, the guy with the beard.
Yeah, well, that's a distinguishing factor.
Yeah. But I loved, before he would leave, you guys need to calm down. Just relax. Jeez.
Yeah, stuff,
and then we just laugh.
You need to learn to let stuff go. It's just not that big a deal. Your cousins. Just.
We'd laugh as he walked in.
It was so hard. Like, what is he talking about? And then we'd be like, oh yeah, I guess we've been kind of like joke swearing at each other most of the day.
That was the greatest time, though, wasn't it? I mean, working together in advance. I mean, the job itself was horrible, but man,
the job itself was horrible. But that kind of half made it because it gave us something to unite and hate together.
Right. Man, that was bad. That really gives you an appreciation for people working those jobs.
Yeah.
And we only did it for a couple of years. Can you imagine like making a career out of that?
I can imagine it, and I lay awake sweaty at night thinking about it.
I mean, I don't know how long it would have lasted if you wouldn't have started there, and I apologize if I got you the job, because I guess misery loves company. My fault.
Hey, to be fair, I would have been like, if I'd have been there working by myself like you were, I would have been like, Tim, it's the greatest thing. You have to get a job here. Trust me. Would I lie to you?
That's so mean. I mean, I guess you didn't come from Office Depot or Max or Staples. What was it?
It was Tim. I'm surprised at you.
It was nights at Office Depot?
Nights at Office Max.
Office Max. Sorry. I thought it was bad when I said Depot, but Max is so much better.
I just remember, at my job interview, my just proud, stately store manager giving me the whole speech about how, Office Max is third in a market of 3. And that, all these plans they have to grow and become better and stuff.
And you were going to be part of that team, weren't you?
We were talking about, it's a great place to be, really, when you think about it, because the only place you have to go is up. If you're at the top, everybody's gunning for you, and if you're the middle, you're not, you can fall, but you're also not the best. It's a terrible. So the bottom.
That's what you did, didn't you? You went up on a forklift, right? And you.
Well,
so the only place you went was up.
I never actually drove. We didn't have a forklift there.
Oh, I thought you loaded something. And,
we didn't have
those. You talk, obviously. I don't know what the hell. I didn't even know where you worked.
Oh, back then I didn't even listen to me when I talked. Not about Office Max. Are you nuts?
No. I only listened to you when you read Snapple Facts.
Yeah, well, we did that, but no, we.
That's when I tuned in. Wait, Tony's got a Snapple Fact. Hold on, you probably wrote those. So Snapple probably called you. And hey, you got any facts for us today, Tony? You want to put them on our caps?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't have been giving up my great facts to Snapple.
No, that's true. You keep those to yourself.
I keep those for intense moments when we needed to make somebody at Advance to make Jason and Advance think we were like amazing wonders of knowledge. Like
what? I forget what happened. I would tell you, and then the answer or the cap, and then we both
knew all the Snapple facts. There was only so many, so you would just like walk up and ask me some random ridiculous trivia question, and I would just know the answer, and Jason would be like just shaking his head like, "Wow."
Jason was gullible, and I liked him because he was shorter than me. That was amazing.
That's why you liked him.
He was awesome. Yeah, he was short. Dude. He was funny. I did that to a guy that showed up here to sell us homeschool books. When he asked me a question about what the rhino's horn made out of, I said hair, and he was so impressed. He's like, "Wow, you homeschooled kids are really smart." And I was like, oh, Snapple fact.
You shouldn't have blown your source like that. You had him impressed.
I had to tell him. I felt bad. I was basically saying we don't need your books. I already know everything. And then I threw that answer out there, just proved my point. Anyway, how did we start talking about advance?
I told you, the tangents are going to be real.
I don't know where that came from.
I don't know. It's all tangents.
Yeah, so sorry.
But
where were you?
I don't know. I was just sitting here. I don't remember where I was. I'm old. Didn't we already cover this?
We did. It seems like I just came out to go see Mike Birbiglia with you, and that was your 30th birthday, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
And now you're like pushing
older
40.
Than that. Let's not even worry about how much
sorry.
older.
It's pushing. You could be 31 and still pushing 40.
Yeah. I could be pushing 40-year-olds no matter how old I am.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could have been 25 at that party. I could just be thinking wrong.
You're thinking wrong. I was 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. It's you're living by yourself, full-time job, and had an apartment at 17. That's impressive.
Well,
when you have a job, at home, Office Depot, and then go to Advance, you're going places. You did. You started at 15, or maybe 13.
13,
like,
12.
You're like the Ron Swanson of Office Depot employees. Yeah. You don't half-ass one thing, you whole-ass two things. No, wait, that's backwards. Everybody was talking
yeah. Don't whole ass two things when you can, or don't half ass two things when you can whole ass one thing.
Yeah, so perfect. So I'm back to your outline.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, popular, and then another thing is that I think with social media, so many people, they don't really think about it, and I think if they did, they would realize that's probably not true. They don't think about it. They just see a blurb on social media somewhere, and it sounds good and catchy and kind of like, oh, that does sound common sense. And then a bunch of people like it and share it. So then the other people like it and share it. And then later when somebody asks them about it, they think, yeah, I say that the earth could be flat. It's because they haven't thought about it. And you've shared things with me that flat earthers say. And it's like, wait a second. Oh, and then you have to actually process it for a minute and think about it. Not that I've ever started to believe it, but sure. But when you hear certain things, that's what I mean, though.
Yeah.
Like you hear certain things, you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Like if, logically that doesn't make sense, or common sense, seemed like common sense that wouldn't work that way. Well, a lot of things in this world are not very common sense.
No.
They flip common sense the bird sometimes.
For sure.
But yeah, that 200 proofs thing, and that's kind of how a lot of it was. It was just really tiny little bite-sized snippets of information that were tried to be put forth as if this is so obvious that this isn't how it works. Like the big one is that the earth is spinning.
Uh-huh.
And if you say the earth spins one revolution every 24 hours, that doesn't sound impressive.
No.
So when they point to a merry-go-round and say, if that was spinning 1,000 miles an hour, you'd fly off of it. And people say, well, right, yeah, you couldn't hold on to that thing even if it was spinning 20 miles an hour. So they use the bigger number of the earth spins 1,000 miles an hour. And it's like, yeah, but
it's huge.
When you're talking about something that spins, the rotational, like the angular speed is what's important. When a round thing is rotating, it's angular speed that matters, and the angular speed is determined by the revolutions per unit of time. And if you were spinning that merry-go-round one revolution per 24 hours, you'd get bored and walk home long before you could even tell it was moving.
That's the only way I would get sick.
So but they say, okay, well, the earth spins 1,000 miles an hour. If the earth was really a ball spinning 1,000 miles an hour, if you jumped, the earth would fly away out from under you.
Yeah.
and that sound might initially sound like, oh, you're right. Yeah, if the Earth was spinning and I jumped, I'd come down 50 feet from where I jumped.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, when you jumped, you were spinning 1,000 miles an hour right along with the Earth.
Yeah, you're stuck there.
So when you jump, you're not going to suddenly stop spinning 1,000 miles an hour. You're going to go up and come right back down. Just like if you're in a car going 60 miles an hour down the highway, as long as that car isn't speeding up or slowing down, you can be tossing a ball and catching it.
Yeah.
It's going to come straight down, and even though you're going 60 miles an hour on the highway. So
yeah, that's a perfect analogy.
So again, it's one of those things where, yeah, if you only look at it that one specific way, you think, man, that is weird. How would that possibly work?
Yeah, if you stop right there, if you don't actually start thinking.
If you just quickly move on to the next point, and that's another thing. And they, that 200 points thing is actually, the fact that he puts 200 points in one video, that's actually a tactic as well, because you want to just put forth a really small, little, tiny...
piece by piece, yeah.
And really quickly move on to the next thing so they don't have time to think about the first thing you just said.
Right, that's a key.
And by the time...
They got to 100, and they're like, you know what, we can do 100 more easy. Let's try to think of a bunch of...
So you just throw all this information out, and by the time you get to the 150th or 200th point, they don't remember the specifics of the thing, the first thing that was said. They remember that it sounded logical, and oh my gosh, he's told me 200 more things, and it's a lot of things. There must be something to this, or at least there could be.
Yeah.
If they told you one thing and actually explained it in detail and gave you time to think about it, you'd be like, oh, well, yeah, but I can throw a ball up in the air in the car, and so there could be more to this. And none of that is proof of anything. It's just a simple little analogy, just like his thing is a little simple analogy. It's not proof of anything. Mm-hmm. It's literally, and that's the thing too, is that none of these things are proofs that a spinning ball doesn't work. They're just little tiny thought experiments that make you think, okay, yeah, maybe, or okay, maybe not, but they're not proofs of anything. They're just tiny little thought experiments designed to kind of sway your thinking. Mm-hmm. But in all reality, that's proof of nothing. It's literally just, wouldn't it work this way if this is how it went? Well, that's nothing. That's just an appeal. Yeah,
that's actually nothing.
That's actually nothing. That's an appeal to, doesn't this sound right? Well, maybe it does, but have you tested it? Have you thought about the other factors? What else is in play here? What else is going on? How much more is it? What is a test that we could come up with that a given result could only happen if it were this way? So you say, okay, if the Earth was spinning and this and this and this and this, what is a test we could do that the given result could only work if it was one way or the other?
Yeah.
And that's not what any of those proofs are. And
you're just picking apart one thing, like one of, it's so easy how you just, how about this? This is actually, okay. Well, if you did that, if you took each one and said that, you could probably do that simply, just what you mentioned common sense before. But,
and tons of people have, but
sure.
The problem is people want to believe a positive, but that's another thing that is being so pushed in this culture, and another reason why I think this stuff gets believed is that any criticism seems like an attack.
Yeah, that's a problem too.
Everybody just immediately labels a criticism an attack. So if someone says,
don't attack my belief,
and here's the thing, with the exception of like big business or government. So if you're criticizing big business or government, people are inclined to be like, yeah, because I was, screwed by this or that. So yeah, that I agree. But then if anybody criticizes the person that just criticized big government, then it's like, why are you attacking that guy? Yeah. I'm going to now side with this guy because look at how everybody's attacking him.
Yeah.
And it just keeps going.
Spirals out of control.
Yep.
We do have the ability to make the world so small with the internet that we can communicate with so many people at once. So you have so many personalities and so many people's beliefs and ideas, and we never had that 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whenever this whole thing started. I don't know how long social media has been around, but it does make it easier to reach so many more people and then influence so many more people.
Yeah. So why are you completely convinced that the Earth is round and couldn't be flat?
Because the government told me.
Oh,
I do.
okay.
Yeah.
I told you.
Yeah.
That's a good reason.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah, that's
seriously. I mean, have you
of.
like thought about it? Is there any one thing that you're like, well, duh? I mean, I realize that for me at least, it's a billion little teeny things that it's just my brain couldn't possibly square all of them with a flat Earth. But I mean, is there anything that's like, well, obviously this?
I mean, I guess, you can't just say, well, you grew up knowing about it because that's what you read and it's the way it is. I mean, it just makes. Yeah, I know.
Indoctrinated.
I was indoctrinated. It just
a sheep believing what you were told by the man.
It makes sense. Just if you go outside and you just watch things, look at things. If you go for a drive, I've been out west, and you can see the curvature. I mean, just looking up at the sky. Okay, are the rest of is the moon's round, right? Is the moon round?
No.
No, it's not. It's flat too.
Actually, it emits its own light, and its light is cold.
The sunset. So many simple little things that you just once you are indoctrinated, right? Then then everything else fits that. It's like, well, that makes sense. Look what the sun is doing. Look what the moon is doing. Look what the stars are doing.
Yeah.
After you just are out in the world, and after you have the mindset of they've discovered that the Earth was round, everything else just makes sense.
Yeah.
When you then are told the Earth is flat, none of the things you see make sense anymore.
Yep.
Well, I mean, that's a simplistic way of looking at it.
Yeah, I've just kind of always been curious my whole life. I mean, long before I saw flat Earth, I was just fascinated by the stars. I mean, I've had telescopes. I've taken pictures of everything. I just do. I look up how things work. I think about everything. I analyze everything. I just can't help it. It's what I do.
Sure.
And so, you just kind of have an innate feeling of how everything works once you learn a little bit about just the interaction of the physical world and the way everything moves and the way everything works, that when somebody comes out and says, well, the Earth is flat, it's like all I could do is laugh because that's so preposterous to me. I mean,
of course.
You look at the sun with the sun filter and you watch it set, and it's like it's not getting further away. It's going behind something. It
doesn't follow the physics of a flat Earth.
It doesn't even a little bit. I mean, it's.
Right.
I mean, they try and come up with, explanations of why we see what we see, and it's like, okay, but the explanation is it's going behind something. The explanation is the Earth is spinning. The explanation is this is what it is. Anything else is an attempt to change everything we've understood about physics and what we see for thousands of years.
Yeah, you made the great point about, well, we already know and believe the Earth is round. You need to convince me. It's your job to convince me that it's not with some proof.
Right.
And I've never seen.
I haven't seen anything
like,
even.
You know what? That does make sense.
I mean, like I said, and I don't judge anybody that gets taken in by it, because like I said, not everybody thinks about things as much as I do. It's a sickness, I think. But
yeah, I've been on the receiving end of those phone calls. And you're sick, man.
I know.
It's fine.
So, I mean, I get that, but like, I haven't seen any arguments that if I just think back on what I know about little things, it's like, no, that doesn't make sense at all. That doesn't explain it even a little bit. That's nothing.
Well, you do so much more research, or you pay attention more, and then I hear you tell me, oh, look, this is what I heard today, and then you give me the explanation of why it's like, I laugh because I would never have thought about it that much or that deep. I would have just been on the surface and be like, yeah, that's ridiculous. But you actually tell me why it's ridiculous. And it's like, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I love that about, listening to you rant about things like that. It's amazing.
Well, I mean, okay, so I had a telescope with what they call an equatorial mount.
Who doesn't? I got 3.
Well, sure. Yeah, they're pretty common. I mean, get off your ass and get one. What the hell?
Who doesn't have an equatorial mount?
Sure. So everybody does. Get it. Just get
Let's
one
move on.
at the times.
Just say mount. we'll automatically think equatorial.
Well, no, there
Okay.
are different ones. Okay, so now I have a specific point to make about an equatorial mount. I'm going to make it. Damn it! Despite your teasings,
Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
you should be
Great
sorry
word.
because I am
I've been-
offended.
Okay, so back to equatorial. Go.
So nobody could deny that if you're looking up at the sky, the stars and sun seem to move across the sky. Now, granted that one argument is that they are actually moving and the Earth is stationary. The other argument is that, well, no, the Earth is spinning. Well, an equatorial mount is designed to track the motion of those objects across the sky. And the way the equatorial mount is designed is you point it at one of the poles, because there's actually two counter-rotating poles in the sky. You point it at one of those, you angle it up at the specific amount of degrees according to your position on the globe. And, I mean, this thing is designed around the geometry of a spinning globe. So you point it, depending on where you are around the globe, that axis of rotation will be an exact specific number of degrees above the horizon. You point this mount at that point, that rotational center, and that mount will rotate in such a way so that the object is no longer moving in your view. The mount is moving.
Oh, wow.
Essentially exactly, not opposite the rotation of the Earth exactly, but it's moving it's moving the opposite direction that the Earth is rotating, so it's like counter-rotating. And
Gotcha.
so you can point it at something in the sky and it'll keep it perfectly centered. And these aren't special.
Something you've done.
They've been around forever. I mean, it's just, they're specifically designed around the rotational geometry of a round Earth, and they work perfect every time. I mean, you can take a picture that's hours long of a star and it doesn't drift at all in the view. It stays perfect because that mount is perfectly aligned with the way the Earth is rotating. And it's just little stuff like that I've already done in my life that, like, oh man, it's going to take something amazing to convince me that that's wrong.
So it was designed that way based on the globe, and it works because that's what the Earth is, a globe.
It works perfect. I mean, you could stand, you get those pictures of star trails where the stars look like they're spiraling in the sky.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All that's doing is you're pointing a camera at the sky, taking a long exposure, but you're not rotating the camera. So you're basically just seeing the stars appear to rotate over time. But if you take a wide enough view, like if you have a lens that can give you like a 180 degree field of view, or 100, even a little more, you can actually see both rotational poles. So you can see all of the stars essentially rotating above you, to where to one direction of you they look like they're rotating in one direction, the other side they look like they're rotating the other direction. But it's just because if I'm looking south, the Earth might be looking, the Earth is rotating, left to right. If I'm looking north, it's right to left. Or I'd have to think about that for a second to know if that's right.
Yeah.
But
it makes perfect sense, though.
And it just fits so perfect with the understanding of a round rotating Earth, and I've seen that. I've watched it. So it's like any explanation that isn't that is like, well, that doesn't fit what I know and what I've set up equipment to track. And I mean, it doesn't work, and that doesn't work at all.
It doesn't work at all.
It doesn't.
Because the Earth isn't flat. So wow, you took that indoctrination and you didn't just believe it. I told you actually proved it.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, okay, I was told the Earth was round growing up in school and stuff, and they show pictures of it and stuff, but I never really thought about it one way or another.
No, neither.
I never really, it was never a thing in my life that I thought about. I just wanted to take a picture of the sky, and so I set up my equipment in such a way that I can do it, and then I observe what happens, and I watch stars, I watch galaxies, I watch nebula, I look at the planets, I watch, I take pictures of the moon, I look at all that stuff.
Yeah.
And
you brought your telescope out here before and showed us. What'd you show us? Venus? Something.
So Mars and
Mars?
Jupiter, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Jupiter.
Yeah, I think Jupiter and Mars.
And fuck Pluto, because who cares?
That's not even a planet anymore.
No. Sorry. Edit that.
What?
Yeah.
Edit what?
Nothing. I didn't say anything.
Exactly. That's what I thought.
Speaking of
that. What?
Speaking of editing.
Huh? Yeah.
Do you have a pause button, a bathroom button, a mute? Because I drank. Do you remember the aforementioned strong cup of coffee?
I remember that aforementioned strong cup of coffee.
We have a couple more points to make in your amazing outline, which includes gravity. So why don't you play our sponsor commercial?
I'll play our sponsor. I'll play our hold music.
Yeah, play our hold music. I'm gonna get up and go pee. I'll be right back.
All right, I'm recording again, or so it says.
I wanted to bring up Pluto for a second because I feel bad.
Yeah, that was a diss of Pluto earlier, and I do think we should apologize to Pluto.
My theory, and there's no YouTube video about this, but my theory is that the reason why we have obesity in this world now is because everyone said Pluto wasn't important because it was small. It's too small.
That's probably.
And as soon as they declare not a planet because it's too small and nobody cares, everyone's like, well, I better get big, or no one's going to care about me.
I want to literally be the size of a planet. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Are you saying that Americans literally aspire to be the size of planets?
I think every school kid was like, holy shit, nobody cares about Pluto because they're too small. I'll take that second order pizza, the second large pizza, so I can bulk up and someone will notice me. So I just came up with that theory.
Yeah, sure. So, and then parents were like, he might make noise if he's not eating, so let's just let him have that second pizza.
He might make noise. It's like you're a parent. That's why Jim Gaffigan talks about suckers so much, how amazing they are, because you can just take this thing and then you got 10 minutes of quiet.
Yep.
Sure, their teeth fall out when you give them 10 a day, but it's hard to talk without teeth. So
it's a risk I'm willing to take,
Right. So do you have any comments on Pluto, or you just want to just move on?
I think you covered it pretty well. I think we could move on from this
Pluto hater,
offensive topic.
Pluto denier. But I was looking through your outline.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like the question about why is it harmful. One of the reasons he could be as bad as the person that got alienated from his family because he wouldn't shut up about it and he was obsessed with it. But there's probably a lot more reasons too. Because I really don't care if someone believes in it.
I mean, like I said, when I saw the original forum about it, I figured some of the people might truly believe it. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I got bored and I moved on with my life. I don't care what people get on that forum and debate.
We both laughed for a while and then we moved on.
Yeah, but since then, now that I have been exposed to people that believe it, I think that it can be a gateway conspiracy.
Yes.
And I know that sounds strange to say. I mean, that's stupid, stupid catchy word, but I think it is. It's like once you believe, I mean, think about how big that conspiracy would have to be. I mean, every government, everybody just says, oh, NASA's lying, NASA lying. It's not just NASA. Almost every major government has a space program, or at least a program that launches satellites or rockets or something. I mean, they study the Earth.
That's what they're paying for.
I mean, they have intercontinental ballistic missiles.
Yeah.
I mean, those things.
Right.
I mean, for that stuff to work, they have to know what the shape of the Earth is. I mean, there's some extremely precise calculations involving geometry and gravity and drift and, air resistance and the Coriolis effect and all kinds of things. And
do you think that's why Kim Jong-un is failing? Because we've been telling him the Earth is flat all this time. So he's like, I'm gonna hit forward this time.
I don't know,
and then he's like,
to try it if it might work. Actually, you're doing wrong with your missile program. The Earth is flat, so just change all your calculations.
It's not a globe. You guys are idiots. You're so naive. Change everything to a flat Earth, and then you can just sit back and watch them and laugh and laugh.
So
but anyway, sorry.
Oh, you should be. How dare you? Derail this topic.
I was just picturing him with this idea of a flat Earth and his engineers designing rockets to fit. Anyway,
so
that's hilarious. We'll probably get shot by him now. Anyway,
well, probably shot, demonetized,
whatever.
hate mail, whatever.
Hate mail. You get a letter in the mail. Who's this from? Damn it! I heard your podcast.
It's an international letter. That's so weird.
We have one other listener, and it's him.
That would be amazing. I'd take it.
I'd take it. Anyway.
Yeah, I think for
Harmful.
how unbelievably massive a conspiracy that has to be. I mean, when you think about how pervasive it would have to be, I mean, it's taught in schools. We have space programs, like movies show it, TV shows it. Everybody talks about it. I mean, it's everywhere. You would have to believe that most of the world is either wrong or lying. And
oh my gosh.
If you can get sucked into believing that, you would then be receptive to, well, if they're lying about that, what else are they lying about? And next thing you know, you believe every conspiracy theory told to you, because if you already believe the government is lying about something as fundamental as the existence of space,
yeah,
you're going to believe.
But we still don't know why. We still don't know why they would lie, though. We still don't know that.
No, like, but if you did believe it,
yeah.
If you did believe, well, I mean, I don't know if it's worth going into the reasons of why they think it, but if you're willing to believe it,
yeah, I got
willing to believe it. Well, of course, anybody that says this is true because the government's lying to you about it, you'd be like, well, yeah, the government is lying to me about it, so that probably is true.
You know what? They even may be able to come up with some strange conspiracy about 5G and the coronavirus. I mean, it's possible.
No, they would. You know? Nobody would ever come up with conspiracy about those things.
You know what?
But maybe
I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm just. Let's not talk about that, because that's absolutely insane. No one would ever believe that.
Conspiracies about that, but something maybe.
That's actually a good topic for another podcast.
I don't know if it is. It's just
podcast outline. 5G and coronavirus. No, never mind. Go ahead. That's the kind of harmful things you're talking about.
I mean, I think, that's one of the reasons it can be harmful, is because I think that it makes you more receptive to believing everybody's lying to you. And think about how miserable of a way that is to go through life.
Where you spend your time just finding more and more videos where you're more and more scared, you're troubled about people, governments lying to you, people lying to you. You know, it would be really hard to live that way.
Yeah, I mean, believe that all of those people are just against you and lying to you, and you don't know what to believe. And if they're lying to you about stuff that fundamental, it couldn't be for good reasons. It's got to be for malicious reasons. So now they're not just lying to you; they're out to get you for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
out to get you. Yeah, that's the scary part. And that would be so hard to wake up in the morning and go to bed at night wondering who lied to me today. What did I hear that wasn't real?
Yeah, and so some people, when they talk about who cares what the shape of the earth is, why do you even care? It's like, I don't care. But the people that do care, it's not, I don't think it's necessarily a problem that they're wrong about the shape of the earth. Yeah, who cares? The problem is, being wrong about the shape of the earth means that they believe that everything is a lie. Where does that lead them, and how miserable must they be?
Yeah,
I think they tell themselves that they're happier for, knowing the truth or being enlightened or something like that. And I think that's how they justify to themselves that this is a good thing to be enlightened and have broken free from the lies and stuff. And I'm not saying that, you should just go along with lies and deception from government because you're happier if you do so. I mean, if something is truly wrong or an injustice or a lie,
of course,
expose it, fix it, move past it, whatever. But if you believe everything is a lie,
yeah, you start going down some
doctors,
dangerous
every
rabbit hole.
scientist, teachers, I mean, government, Hollywood news, Hollywood
They're all trying
studios.
to kill you, especially doctors and
I mean, they'll just like willy-nilly throw out that, Hollywood's part of it. They put all this fake space in their videos to just kind of, indoctrinate people into believing that that's what it is. And it's like, man, so Hollywood is in on it?
Yeah.
That's crazy. But, I mean, when you think about the sheer number of things that must be either true that you wouldn't have thought were true, or that aren't true that you did think were true, and all of the things that must not exist or be lies in order for the flat earth to be correct.
Yeah.
If anybody, when they were first exposed to it, if they weren't just exposed to a video with a bunch of little bite-sized clips and very specifically cherry-picked wording and structuring of the arguments to make it sound believable, if they were instead just shown, okay, the earth is flat and all of this stuff is a lie, all of this stuff is wrong, it's made up, it's fake, it doesn't exist, all of this stuff.
That's dangerous.
Would they believe it?
Yeah.
Would they get sucked in? Like, instead of just seeing, the earth couldn't really be spinning because if you jumped, you'd fly off of it, or the earth couldn't really be spinning because, things would get flung off of it, or, whatever. If instead of little chopped up things like that, if they said, oh, by the way, the earth is flat, gravity's a lie.
Yeah, that was a big...
air travel is a lie. The sun and moon are only 3,000 miles away, and they spin in a circular pattern above the flat earth. Space is a lie. Satellites are a lie. GPS is a lie.
Yeah.
I mean, if they said none of that stuff really exists or is what you think, then
I would say, give me your smartphone because you don't deserve it.
You'd be like, no, that sounds ridiculous.
Hand me your smartphone and everything else in your life that requires the earth to be flat to work.
I'm just saying, it's like, yeah, if you had to take it all as one chunk at once, you'd think it was ridiculous. But if you get it in little bite-sized pieces, you start to think maybe that is true. And then eventually you start to believe the conspiracy theories. You start to believe it's all lies. Maybe you believe a couple of more conspiracies. Then later, eventually you see somebody make a point that, but gravity wouldn't work on flat Earth. It just literally wouldn't work. And then somebody says, yeah, but gravity's also a lie. Then you're like, oh, really? Oh
my gosh, I knew it. That makes sense.
It's also a lie. It's like, if it just comes in steps like that, I think it's...
Yeah.
I think that's how you get sucked in.
Exactly how you get sucked in. Then your free time becomes videos, conversations with family, YouTube drama stuff just piles on top of each other, and then you keep going down another rabbit hole until you're scared, and it affects your relationships and your mood and your health and everything.
Yeah.
So it can be dangerous.
Yeah, if somebody's that terrified about everything in their life, stress is unhealthy.
It's as unhealthy as eating bad. It's the same as not.
So I eat bad and get fat.
It's but you're not stressed.
I don't let anything bother me, so I figure it balances out.
You're fine, yeah, but if you ever find something that stresses you out, you're screwed.
If I ever find something that stresses me out, I'm going to have to start eating healthy, I'll tell you what.
you gotta tip the scale the other way. Well, now I eat healthy. Just keep going back and forth.
Yeah, one of these days I'm just going to realize I've been repressing stress, and I'm just going to drop dead.
Yeah. It's all going to hit you at once, and you're just going to fall over. Well, I guess I'll walk. It looks like the stress killed him. Finally. But I like one of the main points of your outline was how fucking funny is it?
I seriously though, like, if you don't think about how sad it is for some of the people that get sucked in, the relationships that they're lost, and the stress that they're under, and if you don't think about all that, isn't it just fucking funny?
It is. I know. Yeah, if you don't start thinking about it too much, like, wow, there's actually people that believe this and are affected by it, but other than that, it is hilarious. And that's why, a lot of those videos of the people, they're making fun of the conspiracy, watching the SpaceX video, playing the guys, the reason why this is happening. And then he stops it, and then he laughs about it, teases them, jokes, and then tells you what the actual thing is. But there's always humor in that.
Yeah.
I love that. When there's humor involved in it, I can watch it.
Yeah.
That's why it's hard for me to watch. When he cuts back to that guy in his car, going, "There's nothing up there. There's nothing. It's all fake. There's nothing up there. They're all lying to you." I couldn't watch a whole video of that.
Yeah.
My time's too important.
Oh, a 2-year-old that is smearing spaghetti on their face's time is more important.
Absolutely.
I mean, no offense, or maybe just a little offense.
No, fine. Offense.
Small amount of offense.
I'm okay with it. Not like anybody's listening to this anyway.
Yeah, nobody's gonna listen.
Once it's out there, someone might stumble across it, like, "I'm offended," in the comment section.
Probably.
And I'll reply with, "I don't care." Or just like you do with your channel. When someone comments, "Cool," or "What'd you write?" Just this.
Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, word comment.
It's just like, I mean, some people actually give reasons and stuff, and then somebody, some people are just like, this is horrible and you suck, and I'm just like, all right, cool.
All right, cool.
What would I say to that? I mean, what? All right.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, just there's being a bully. I always do that though with YouTube videos where you watch a video and then I want to read the comments to see if people laughed at the same thing I did.
Oh, sure.
It's like, oh yes, I thought that was funny too. I don't know why we do that. I always scroll down. I read a couple dozen comments just to make sure they also thought it was funny.
Somebody pointed out the thing that you thought of.
Right. I mean, I know you will. You and I will, but I'm like, oh, because some other people like Tony and I.
Yeah.
My kids are usually on board as well. That's my fan base.
You've just been indoctrinating them with the globe model.
It's true. You know what? We don't even own a globe, so
yeah.
I'm sorry, Big Globe. I hope you still consider us.
I don't.
And continue to support us. I don't own a globe.
Either.
Only thing I have is a map of the United States on the wall in this kid's schoolroom, and that's it. And then I sit there and go, "Wow, we went to Colorado last year." So I use that map to look at Colorado, so I can dream of going back.
Yep.
All those states. So that was fun. You think we covered enough of the flat Earth topic?
I mean, pretty much. I mean, it's not like we're going to break any new ground or convince anybody, or it's not like I don't think we've like, oh well, this is it, proof. We've proved the globe and flat Earth destroyed. I mean, and that's not that. We're just chatting about our thoughts.
Day-to-day proof everywhere when you walk outside.
Yeah.
You don't need us.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Just
I don't know.
Just don't.
Since we do both know someone, at least one person.
Yeah.
It can't help but be a topic in our lives occasionally.
Yeah.
It
is fun to watch a video every now and then of it. And now that I've watched videos of some of the links you sent me and stuff, it's in my suggested videos on YouTube now.
Yeah.
So I come across.
Yeah. And that's somebody was actually pointing out that that's one of the problems too. And I mean. Yeah, I understand why the algorithms are the way they are, and I'm not going to sit here and be like, YouTube has to change because they're ruining society.
I enjoy it. I like that. I like them pointing out videos that I watch because I'm interested in.
Well, sure, but what I was going to say is a lot of people are saying that once somebody watches a video like that, like 200 proofs that the Earth is flat, or a conspiracy theory about this, or a conspiracy theory about that, that's what's going to get suggested to them next.
They're inundated with
so they're
suggestions.
Just going to keep seeing more of it.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, they're like, "Oh my gosh, look how many people are saying this! There's probably something to this."
And then it just keeps going and going. That's your night. More and more convinced.
Yep.
So that's why I stick with Ryan George. So they can recommend those.
I don't know if anybody cares about our thoughts on that, but did you watch that video yet?
the kids were watching it when I was in the kitchen there in the living room, and I didn't want to hear it because I don't want to be spoiled.
Ruined.
Yeah, I don't want to hear a piece of it and miss it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to watch tonight. They were just busting up laughing, because they really enjoy his videos.
Yeah, it's the first person to play tag, and it's amazing.
Well, a couple times we went swimming over the weekend, we just were calling it the drinking stuff. It wasn't water anymore.
The drinking stuff. Yeah, it's the drinking stuff now. Will be forever.